Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV on Comcast, Channel 15, and AT&T Channel 99, where you can also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area, on Birmingham Area Municipal Access, and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or ONTV. You can also find us on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on the Biff Radio Network, 88.1 FM, the Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and on My Michigan TV or MyMy at mymytv.com. That's MYMITV.com for more information. We can also learn about downloading their free apps for your smartphones and your smart TVs. All that information is on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find all of our programs on demand and find each individual interview as well. Then let's head over to our news page, civiccentertv.com/local news, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also on our news page at civiccentertv.com/local-news, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets across the state of Michigan in order to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines all across the Great Lakes state. Our top story today is from Lauren Nagard of the Associated Press via MLive. Pfizer says that 3 COVID-19 shots are needed to protect children under 5 years old. 3 doses of the Pfizer vaccine offer strong protection for children under 5, the company announced on Monday. Pfizer plans to give the data to U.S. regulators this week in a step toward letting the littlest kids get the shots. The news comes after months of anxious waiting by parents desperate to vaccinate their babies, toddlers, and preschoolers, especially as COVID-19 cases once again are rising. The 18 million tots under 5 are the only group in the U.S. not yet eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. The Food and Drug Administration has begun evaluating data from rival Moderna, which hopes to begin offering 2 kid-sized shots by sometime this summer. Pfizer has had a bumpier time figuring out its approach. However, it aims to give tots an even lower dose, just 1/10 of the amount that adults receive, but discovered during its trial testing that 2 shots didn't seem quite as strong enough for preschoolers in particular. So researchers gave a 3rd shot to more than 1,600 youngsters from a few months to 4 years old during the winter surge of the Omicron variant. In a press release, Pfizer and its partner BioNTech said the extra shot did the trick, revving up tots' levels of virus-fighting antibodies enough to meet FDA criteria for emergency use of the vaccine with no safety problems. Preliminary data suggested that the 3-dose series is 80% effective in preventing symptomatic COVID-19, the company said, but they also cautioned that the calculation is based on just 10 cases diagnosed among study participants by the end of April. The study rules state that at least 21 cases are needed to formally determine effectiveness, and Pfizer promised an update as soon as more data is available. The company already had submitted data on the first 2 doses to the FDA, and BioNTech's CEO, Dr. Ugar Sahin, said the final 3rd shot data would be submitted this week. Quote, "The study suggests that the low 3 microgram dose of our vaccine, carefully selected based on tolerability data, provides young children with a high level of protection against the recent COVID-19 strains," he said in the statement. So that leads to the question, what's next? FDA vaccine chief Dr. Peter Marks has pledged the agency, quote, "will move quickly without sacrificing our standards," end closed quote, in evaluating tot-sized doses for both Pfizer and Moderna. The agency has set tentative dates next month for its scientific advisors to publicly debate data from each company. Moderna is seeking to be the first vaccine to the littlest kids. It submitted data to the FDA saying tots developed high levels of virus fighting. Just a moment. Okay, sneeze is gone now. Of virus-fighting antibodies after 2 shots that contain a quarter of the dose given to adults. The Moderna study found effectiveness against symptomatic COVID-19 was 40% to 50% during the Omicron surge, much like for adults who have only had 2 vaccine doses. Complicating Moderna's progress, the FDA so far has allowed its vaccine to be used only in adults. The FDA is expected to review Moderna's data on both the youngest age group plus its study of teens and elementary age children as well. And other countries have already expanded Moderna's shot to kids as young as 6. While COVID-19 generally isn't as dangerous to youngsters as it is to adults, some children do become severely ill or even die, and the Omicron variant hit children especially hard, with those under 5 hospitalized at higher rates than at the peak of the previous Delta variant surge. It's not clear how much demand there will be to vaccinate the youngest kids. Pfizer shots for 5 to 11-year-olds opened in November, but only 30% of the age group have gotten the recommended initial 2 doses. Last week, U.S. health authorities said the elementary age children should get a booster shot, just like everyone else 12 and older is supposed to get, for the best protection against the latest coronavirus variants. Also making headlines on Civic Center TV's local news page from Susan Selesky of the Detroit Free Press. All persons are accounted for after a Gaylord tornado, Michigan State Police are saying. There are no longer persons unaccounted for in the aftermath of the tornado that touched down on Friday in Gaylord, according to an update from the state police, which confirmed that the missing persons have been found alive. The Sunday morning update also said recovery efforts continue and that nearly all power has been restored to customers. M32 and I-75 are also now open. About 6,500 customers were without power as of Saturday, according to Consumers Energy. Secondary roads will close as needed. 2 people were killed and dozens were injured when the tornado in EF3, rated according to the National Weather Service, struck the northern Michigan town about 3.5 hours north of Detroit. The 2 people killed were found at the Nottingham Forest Mobile Home Park, which suffered significant damage from the tornado. An aerial view of the park shared on Saturday by the state police shows many of the homes completely leveled, turned into mounds of insulation, plywood, and the contents of people's lives. On Friday, after the storm, Governor Gretchen Whitmer declared a state of emergency in Gaylord. Finally, making headlines on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Bridge, Michigan's Zara Ahmad, also a former guest of the Megacast. Northern Michigan is bracing for tourists as counties are moving into high risk for COVID-19. COVID risk levels are ratcheting into the red zone in northern Michigan just as tourists begin their annual migration to the state's scenic stretches, waterways, fairs, and festivals. Travel for Memorial Day weekend is expected to be the busiest in 3 years, according to the Auto Club AAA, which forecasts more than 1.1 million Michiganders will be on the road. In many cases, they're leaving counties where COVID-19 is raging for destinations where it is as well. 22 of 83 counties in the state of Michigan, home to more than half of the state's population, are now listed by the CDC in high risk category of their 3-tiered risk system: low, medium, high. The counties include Southeast Michigan, 6 of the 7 counties in the eastern Upper Peninsula, including Mackinac Island, Sault Ste. Marie, and Tahquamenon Falls State Park, and 9 in northern Michigan, covering such destinations as Traverse City, Petoskey, and Harbor Springs. Quote, "People are out and about. Everything's chomping at the bit Everyone's chomping at the bit to get lives back to normal," said Karen Senkus, health officer for Chippewa County in the Upper Peninsula, where cases have climbed to 177 this week from 37 in April at this time. The county was recently pushed into the high-risk zone, in which the CDC recommends indoor masking following recent in all situations, following recent heavily attended events such as Lake Superior State University's commencement, high school graduation, end-of-year parties, and even dance recitals, Senkus said. Quote, "It's not great timing at all," says Carrie Ott, spokesperson for LMAS Health Department, which covers the eastern UP, including Mackinac County, where counties rose 54% in the past 2 weeks to 34 total cases. Quote, "We are obviously informing and recommending, but that's just about all we can do. We're saying get your masks back out, but it's up to each person to do that," she said. Travel and outdoor activities have surged throughout the pandemic, and northern Michigan motels have benefited, said Justina Hirschman, manager of the Aurora Borealis Motel in Mackinac County, which straddles Emmett and Sheboygan counties. Both, however, are in the red zone for COVID-19. Quote, "We saw an explosion in tourism because people are looking for outdoor activities to maintain social distancing," Hirschman said, continuing on. "Most places were still in lockdown, so travelers changed their plans and started looking for outdoor recreation here," and closed quote. Across the Mackinac Bridge in St. Ignace, Staffers of the Bavarian House Lakefront Inn are closely monitoring cases and continuing to enhance cleaning that began 2 years ago, said General Manager Sarah Wiggins. Quote, "We have been fighting it the best we can, but the last 2 years have been busy. The season is starting up and people still want to get out of the house and enjoy themselves," Wiggins said. Michigan officials anticipate the surge in state park usage will continue where it left off last year when there were more than 35 million visits, up more than 30% from pre-pandemic levels. Ryan Bondman, Emmett County's Director of Parks and Recreation, said the spring is already busy. He said that his team, quote, "came together at the onset of the pandemic and cleaned the buildings more thoroughly than ever before." Quote, "That was the only thing we really added," Bauman said. Continuing on, "We'll try to maintain those services," and closed quote. Like other parks across Michigan, Bondman said staffing shortages presented a challenge the past 2 seasons. Across the state's economy, workers left their jobs in droves during the pandemic, but didn't return in equal numbers as things started to change. That was until parks started offering competitive wages, Bauman said. The county did a full wage evaluation for all of its staff members, including seasonal workers, and he said that the parks are, quote, "paying more competitively. That's really what it boils down to," and closed quote. This year, he continued on, another quote, this year that's going a lot better. We're nearly fully staffed," and closed quote from Bauman. All those headlines on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. It's a good time to keep up with all that, especially if you have Memorial Day weekend travel plans. Know where you're going, know what the COVID situation is in those areas, and precautions you may need to take depending on where you're going or where you're staying. We have a great program ahead on this Monday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk about senior year for you high school students and what to do after graduating for those of you going to school or into the workforce with Noelle Essig from West Bloomfield High School. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll hit the road with a destination being success. Dr. Barry Franklin from Oakland University will join us over Zoom to talk about his book, GPS for Success. That's all up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is Noelle Essig, college and career counselor at West Bloomfield High School as the school year wraps up. Kids get themselves ready to graduate, and others get ready for some big life decisions and processes such as college applications and even college decisions, or just getting ready to move to college as well. Noelle joins us now on the Megacast. Noelle, thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So as we get ready to end the school year, what are some of the most important things that need to be done right now for those that are high school seniors, but even those that are soon to be upperclassmen or even seniors next year, to put their best foot forward for their future, whether that be going on to college or a trade or into the workforce, or just being ready for senior year, which is a big year for these students?
Yeah, that's a huge question. Yeah. So to address our current seniors that are often graduating, the most important thing that I'm finding right now is just helping those seniors as they've made that decision as to what college they're going to go to, really fine-tuning, making sure they're reading all the nitty-gritty details in terms of housing, in terms of deposits, orientation programs that the universities are hosting, registering for classes. It's been interesting this past week. Students have made their decisions, and then they just kind of feel like, okay, now I can rest. And really the hard work becomes making sure that they are ticking off all the to-do lists that the colleges and universities have. And that's the same even for our students going off into our skilled trades or the military. There's checklists, there's things that need to happen. And we just really encourage those students to read the fine details. If they're not sure what they're going to do next year, we might have some students that are choosing to enter the world of work. There's a wonderful program here in our community called Michigan Works that can help recent graduates with finding their career pathways as well. So that's our outgoing seniors. For our rising seniors, our current juniors, we're busy at our high school right now, making sure our students have a plan for, testing if they're going to need ACT or SAT tests, visiting college campuses this summer, fine-tuning that resume, adding things to it if they need volunteer experience, and then relaxing and recharging the battery, knowing that senior year is a very busy year. We want our students to take full advantages of just kind of shutting down for a little while and kind of being ready to go once the fall hits.
We're joined by Noelle Essig, the college and career counselor at West Bloomfield High School, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And so we know that the summers are important academically for students to get rest, but not necessarily lay off of their academics, get themselves fresh, but still be in tune academically for the upcoming school year. A lot of summer reading, maybe some other summer homework, summer school also an option. But for those that are at the lower levels in the high school, for the freshmen and the sophomores, and even those rising juniors, how important is the summer for them and getting ready for the next step after high school, even really when they're early on in their high school experience? Those summers, that time can be really important in their future decisions.
I agree with you. The summer can really be a chance to build the resume. For a lot of our students during the school year, they're really bogged down with extracurricular involvements here at our school, the academics, maybe sports. The summer is a chance to really enhance your resume, potentially, that you're going to show to colleges, universities, employers. So I love when students take advantage of volunteering locally in the community. I love when students get a job. And I think when we talk to colleges and universities and employers, those summer job experiences, no matter what they are, I don't know what kind of job you had, Tyler, when you were a student, but even if you're scooping ice cream all summer long, you're learning potentially customer service skills. You're learning budgeting, time management. Talk to your employer, find out if there's ways that you could get involved with social media marketing or whatever your career interest might be. Those are just great life experiences. And I find that many times those summer experiences are what students write about in their college application essays. So really, finding a need, volunteering, and again, things don't have to be these big glamorous things. You can find a need within your community, in your neighborhood, and do a local, beautification. That's a great thing. Again, just finding a way to do something different to help enhance that resume.
And so you mentioned that the colleges are really take positively to this job experience, and also, of course, to the volunteer experiences that kids can get over the summers. And so through the school districts like West Bloomfield, or even through Oakland County schools, or through other school districts in the area, and in your discussions with your colleagues, what sort of assistances are available for students that may be looking for summer work that they may be able to get through their school? Certainly the volunteer opportunities are also there.
Yeah, so in my building, I have a Counselor Connection newsletter that I push out twice a month to all of our students and parents, and it's on our website. Those of you listening in, if you go to the WBHS counseling website and look at Counselor Connection, we post jobs. So people in our community create a flyer. I cut and paste it. I put it on there. I put it in our newsletter and advertise it to our students. But really, in this job market right now, where employers, most companies are looking for summertime help desperately. I always say to students, think about where you would like to spend your time this summer and walk in and ask if you can apply for a summer job. It's not that hard to find a summer job right now.
Yeah, lots of positions are open across many different sectors. They're looking for people. They're looking for anyone they can train and have working there for a number of different hours over the summer. So always a good opportunity. We're joined by Noelle Essig, College and Career Counselor at West Bloomfield High School, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can keep up to date with the College and Career Center through West Bloomfield High School on their Twitter page at WBHS Counseling, as well as on the website, the school district's website, WBSD.org. And so for students that are preparing for applying for school, or will be applying for school over the summer months, what advice does your office have, and what assistances does your office and other offices similar in school districts throughout the area have in place for students and for families in assisting them with that process? Because it's a big process, it's an arduous process, a lot goes into it beyond the searching and just filling out the forms. What sort of assistance is there to help these families through these really important but rigorous processes?
Yeah, so for students within West Bloomfield, having someone in my position, it's pretty unique, and more school districts are putting in place someone devoted to the college and career placement process. And we have an amazing counseling team in our building, and we work in tandem. We work together to support our students beautifully. So again, for most schools, reaching out to that school counselor is a great resource for you. We in our building right now, I'm busy doing college prep workshops on all those topics that you just talked about. Asking for letters of recommendation, how to send your transcripts, how to search out scholarships, what the financial aid process is like. And then we run a college application boot camp prior to the start of school. I think many schools in our area do something similar. We do it during Jumpstart a couple weeks before school starts, and we walk our kids through that process so that they leave fully feeling supported and knowing how to fill out those college applications. And we are very honest with our students, like, we are here to support you, but we cannot fill those out for you. The support is there. And we'll run workshops throughout the school year as well. Yeah, and probably the number one place if you're feeling lost where to go is to reach out to your counseling office.
We're joined by Noelle Essig, the college and career counselor at West Bloomfield High School, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. Keep up to date with the school district, including the high school's counseling office and career office, by visiting wbsd.org. You can also follow the West Bloomfield High School College and Career Center by visiting Twitter on their Twitter page at WBHS Counseling. That's at WBHS Counseling for more tips, tricks, and help along the year for West Bloomfield High School families, as well as other high school families throughout the area. A lot of this information is very generally helpful to students and families throughout the local area. Noelle, in terms of testing preparation, the school district also provides some information on helping students with preparing for those tests as they're looking forward to their college admission processes and submitting those applications, maybe doing interviews, sending those test scores off. We know during the pandemic, a lot of these schools were relieving some of those requirements for certain test scoring ranges in order to get in. Is that going to be something that persists going forward now that things are starting to transition back to some semblance of normalcy? Do you imagine that colleges will slowly transition to having those be a more critical factor as they've been in the past?
Right now, all indications are telling us that things will remain the same. So the majority of colleges that during the pandemic declared themselves as test optional have stayed that way. We really don't anticipate a lot of colleges changing their mind on that. So when it comes to testing and test prep, I'm not at a point yet where I'm 100% telling students don't worry about it, because I do find that many scholarship organizations are still using test scores as a means of giving out scholarships. So I like students to give the test a try, see if those test scores help supplement their application. If they don't, then we take full advantage of test optional. There's a wonderful tool called the Common Data Set, and every college has this. So all you would need to do is Google the name of the college with the word Common Data Set, and you look for Section C. Section C will show you information about last year's incoming freshman class. So this is where me as a professional, we go when we research a school. When a student comes to me and says, Mrs. Essig, should I send this score to Duke? Well, we Google it, Common Data Set. We look to see what their average test scores of admitted students were from the last year's cycle. And if those scores are at or above, then we can say, okay, yep, it probably helps your application to send it. If they're at or below it, then we say, let's take full advantage of test optional. So there definitely can be a strategy, but I'm not at a point anymore where I feel like students have to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars with test prep and many, many hours over the summer, because in reality, they may not even use that score to begin with. But I do think it's good to give it some test prep, do the best you can, and then consult with your counselor or myself, and we can kind of just determine if we need to keep going or if we can just say, okay, we're good.
We're joined by Noelle Essig, a college and career counselor at West Bloomfield High School, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information on the school district's website, wbsd.org, or by following the Counseling and Career Office, Career Center on their Twitter page, at WBHS Counseling. That's at WBHS Counseling. And Noelle, just a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. As high school juniors, those rising seniors, as you said, get ready for their senior year. They come into it knowing that it's, of course, their last year in high school. A lot of them will have applied to colleges, maybe gotten into many of them, maybe even made their decision. And at that time, we often see in a lot of cases that they take their foot off the gas. They're not as aggressive in their academic pursuits. Maybe they get a little lackadaisical. That can have an impact on their college life too, especially for those who maybe haven't made their decisions yet or who are getting deferred admission. How important is senior year in securing your place in a college or in a trade or in other pursuits that you may have after high school?
Yeah, I love that you brought this up. Thank you, Tyler, because we have some serious cases of senioritis going on right now among our seniors, where they're just kind of shutting down and they feel like, well, I've already been admitted to my school. I know where I'm going. And I always remind students, number one, this is, many of our students, you've worked hard. This reflects on that final GPA, that final transcript. But if you get to a school and you decide to transfer, there could be a chance that the college that you'd like to transfer to wants to still see this high school GPA from your senior year. So don't let up yet. We have seen in some cases, if a student totally bombs out that last semester of senior year, kids have to realize that colleges still need to see a final transcript, a proof of graduation. So in a rare circumstance, if a student totally bombs out, a college could revoke admission, and that would be heartbreaking for students. So, again, I'm just always a person that believes, finish strong or stronger than you ever have. It's just for us, for seniors, it's just a few more weeks, but you just never know where your path will lead you. So you always want to resist that senioritis that seems to kick in that senior year. It does matter.
Yeah, and those habits will follow you too into what you do next. If you are academically strong, you build good habits throughout your high school experience, and then you take your foot off the gas in the senior year, you get relaxed, that becomes a habit that can have a big impact on you staying in your school later on.
I agree.
Noelle, anything else for us before we let you go today?
No, one thing that I forgot to mention when you were asking about resources, for the West Bloomfield juniors and seniors, we have a Canvas page, a College and Career Center Canvas page. There's all sorts of different modules that I put in there, lots of educational videos about the entire process. So please make sure you're making use of Canvas as well. But, just know that your counselors are here to support you. I'm so grateful, Tyler, that you had me on to talk about such an important topic. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate your time and your insight on this topic. We're going to take a break on the Megacast, and when we return, what you need to do today and in the future to achieve your goals and put yourself on the road to success. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com, where you can learn more information about our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Everyone takes their own journey to reach success and forms their own definition of success over the course of their lifetime. But one man has some helpful key points that can help you achieve your life goals, whatever they may be. Joining us now is Dr. Barry Franklin, professor at the Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine and author of GPS for Success: Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers. Dr. Franklin, thank you very much for being with us today.
Tyler, pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be good to have you with us. So first off, tell us a little bit about your background and then your journey to authoring this book, GPS for Success: Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers.
Sure. I was a gymnast in undergraduate school. I went to Kent State University, Tyler, and my goals were really twofold: what new trick I was going to learn on the still rings and which attractive co-ed I was going to take out on Saturday night. And I came to the sobering realization that those goals weren't going to lead to a meaningful career or, for that matter, pay the bills. I got a bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Penn State University, got it out into the real world, and realized I was not as prepared as I thought I was going to be. Then I started reading everything I could on leadership, success, and early in my career, I embraced Peter Drucker, the management guru's recommendation that everybody should find a secondary pursuit and make it into more than just a hobby. For me, that secondary pursuit became the study of highly successful people in all walks of life. And for the last 4 decades, it's really been a passion of mine, and finally put it together in this new book, GPS for Success.
And so you even taught an entire course on this at Central Michigan. Can you tell us about the basics of GPS for Success and where the titling comes from on this book?
Yeah, the basics are really to fill a void in the standard secondary prevention or secondary education curriculum. The American Council on Education says we need to do a better job in equipping students with broad life and career skills. They talk about these underappreciated soft skills, and the things we address in the book are positive associations, in other words, surrounding yourself with people you want to emulate. Collaboration. There's a synergy. When two people with complementary skills work together, they can do a lot more. People skills, very, very important. The reason people are largely hired for jobs and are promoted is people skills, not technical skills. Interviewing, the ability to interview and get a job. Problem solving, goal setting, very, very important. I love the quotes: unless it's on paper, it's vapor. Or if you can think it, ink it, so to speak. Ask for things you want. Very highly successful people in our research ask for things they wanted. Serve others. Focus on your contributions. And there's a boomerang effect that comes back to you. Dealing with setbacks. I oftentimes tell young people, college students, setbacks line the road to success. If you're experiencing setbacks, you know you're on the right road. The patience of virtue, persistence and patience. The potency of preparedness. Every time I give a talk, and I'm sure you do for your radio and podcasts, you prepare. You look at what you got to do. The keys to writing and speaking. Also, organizational membership. I got a great deal out of being a member of several different professional organizations. And the number one factor, taking action. Tommy Hopkins, a top sales leader in the world, has what he calls the law of Goya. Get off your ass and move in the direction of stuff that you want. It is so true. The famous author, Art Williams, said it's not what you say you're going to do in life, it's what you actually do. So this book addresses many of those issues.
And so when you mentioned some of these soft skills that are critical to finding success in life, whatever that definition is for you, or whatever those goals are that you're setting, what are some of those skills that you believe that young men and women that are entering their careers now, that, or even those that are established in their careers but are hitting kind of a standstill, what do you believe among those soft skills and among those major skills that are critical to success that these people may be missing and could be useful to them to read something like GPS for Success and learn some of those skills?
Well, some of the key books that I read over the years that I'd highly recommend beyond academics are The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and our new book, GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers. If you said to me, Barry, give me the foundational factors, I think there are 4. Basically, number 1, if you want to do great work, you got to love what you do. So find out what you love to do and get somebody to pay you to do it. Steve Jobs said the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Secondly, recognize that to a large extent, we make our own destiny. I read a great book by Mark Myers years ago called How to Make Luck. And what he says, and I think it's very true, is 95% of things that happen to you, Tyler, happen because of things you did or didn't do. Number 3, take 100% responsibility for your life. Those people who take 100% responsibility are invariably the superachievers. A student one time came up to me and said, Dr. Franklin, you know the 10 most powerful 2-letter words? And I said, I didn't. And she said, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I think that is so true. And finally, focus on serving others. A lot of young people worry about making a big salary and a house and travel and so on and so forth. And I say you're focusing on the wrong end of the scale. Focus on your contributions and the rewards will come. I love the quote by Tolstoy, who once said, we love people not for what they can do for us, but for what we can do for them. It's the fundamental ingredient of success. And then if you were to say to me, well, give me some more specifics, let me give you my top 10 if we've got the time. Yeah, can I do that? Okay. Number 1, look for the good in people and situations. Tyler, if I'm interviewing you and I ask, how's Oakland University or how's your current job? And you say, well, it's really lousy, they aren't good. The interview's over. I don't want you. The thing is, you say, I love where I'm at, but moving to Beaumont or whatever can take my career to a new step. Focus, number 2, on the law of attraction. Believe, act, and achieve. Believe, take action, and achieve. Number 3, program your GPS. In other words, set goals in writing. Number 4, take action, just do it. As I said, Tommy Hopkins said the law of Goya, get off your butt and move in the direction of your goals. Number 5, recognize that setbacks line the road to success and that persistence pays. This latest book that we're talking about, Tyler, I want to say it quietly, but I got turned down by 100 publishers before. A small publisher in a small city, you may have heard of it, called New York, New York. Productivity Press said, we'll publish your book. So never give up. Number 6, ask for things you want. Reject rejection. You want to get on a committee, you want to do this, call the people and say you're interested in volunteering, you're interested in helping out. I can't tell you the number of successful people I've talked to. I said, how'd you get on that committee? They said, I called the person in charge and asked. Number 7, become a master communicator. There are good data to suggest the bigger your vocabulary, the better speaker you are, the better writer you are, the better you're going to move in your career. The greater number of words you know, the more likely you are to be highly successful. Number 8, power of associations and collaborations. I tell young people, find out the stars in the field, and if you can work with them, even just an internship at no salary, it's priceless experience. Surround yourself with stars. I've been at Beaumont 37 years and have surrounded myself with people who have skills and abilities I don't have, and they make me look good, and I thank them wholeheartedly. You want to double or triple your productivity. Work with others. That book you mentioned is my 27th book. It took the longest ever to write it, almost 4 years. Many of my other books were with 2 or 3 other people, where you take a book this thick and you only have to do this much work, a third if you're doing it with other people. So it's tougher to do things on your own. One other thing, and there's a great analogy. I always watch the Budweiser commercials around Christmas time. You see those big Clydesdales. What many people don't realize, Tyler, is that one Clydesdale can pull 8,000 pounds. You take 2 Clydesdales, put them together, it's not 16,000 pounds, it's 24,000 pounds. And 2 Clydesdales working together who've been trained to move together simultaneously can pull 32,000 pounds, 4 times the weight of any one. People are the same way. People working together can accomplish phenomenal things. Number 9, people skills. The main reason people advance in their careers is they've got good people skills. They take an interest in others. They're people of integrity. In other words, doing what you say you're going to do. They make people feel important. Danny Myers, the owner of Shake Shack, was interviewed and said, "Mr. Myers, how have you been so successful? You're worth $500 million." He said, "Every person I see, I pretend they have a sign around their neck that says, 'Make me feel important.'" Try to exceed people's expectations. And finally, the law of sow and reap. Be willing to pay the price. I had a student from Oakland University looked at my edits on something she asked me to look at, and she said, "Wow, you made this sound so much better. How often are you doing this writing and this editing? You must have some experience." I said, "Only on the days I eat." That seemed to get the message across to her, that, yeah, you got to spend a lot of time. In fact, Malcolm Gladwell, writer of Outliers, said you got to devote 10,000 hours on something before you really become a good broadcaster, a good writer, a good speaker, whatever. Last but not least, it pays to be just a little bit better. And I tell students this: if you're thinking about the master's, stop thinking about it and take action and get that master's, get the certification, and so on and so forth. 2002, I started looking at the PGA Tour, Professional Golf Association Tour. #1 golfer in the world, Tyler, was a guy by the name of Tiger Woods. You may have heard of him. Averaged 68.56 shots. The #10 golfer in the world that year was Sergio Garcia. He averaged 70 shots. What does that mean? It means Tiger Woods, #1, would beat the #10 golfer by an average 1.5 shots. It pays to be a little bit better. It's as simple as that. By the way, as an aside, Tiger Woods made $6.6 million on a tour that year. Sergio Garcia, $2 million. So 6.6 versus 2 million. But there was a company in 2002, you may have heard of them, called Nike, who gave Tiger Woods a $60 to $80 million contract, because he was the #1 golfer. I tell students and young colleagues, anything you can do to make yourself a little bit better, do it. Those are the keys.
We're joined by Dr. Barry Franklin from Oakland University's William Beaumont School of Medicine. He's also the author of GPS for Success: Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Franklin, this book is great for anybody. These strategies can be used for anybody at any level of life, at any level of their career, whatever career field they're in, but specifically for those who are just graduating, whether it be high school and moving on to college, or a trade, or some other venture in their life, or those graduating college, or just looking for a change in their life. For those groups of people, why is this book something that can be a very, very helpful tool for them as they are reshifting their journey or forming their journey at its early point?
Yeah, it's a great question. In many respects, I could have named this book, Tyler, The Missing Course, because for the most part, I was in physiology, we got a lot on heart rate and energy metabolism and caloric expenditure, but we didn't get much on interpersonal skills and collaboration and goal setting and creating a synergy via collaboration and so on and so forth. So in many respects, this course fills a missing void. One of the few courses I taught was at Central Michigan University, and I taught this course over a 5-year period. It was a 1-credit course. It was on a Friday and Saturday, and the students invariably rated it among the highest rated courses around. I'll also say I'm very proud of the fact that President Peskovitz took an early look at the book and gave us a glowing recommendation. So those are things I'm particularly proud of, and we hope that this can be a useful resource for students. To me, it's the perfect graduation gift, to be quite frank with you.
Dr. Franklin, if people are interested in reading the book, they're interested in purchasing the book, where are some of the places that they can find GPS for Success?
Probably the easiest thing, Tyler, is to simply go to my website. My website is all lowercase, www.drbarryfranklin.com. And there's information on GPS for Success. There's information on the student comments from Central when they took the course. And there's information. There's 3 different options for ordering the book. The best is a company called Healthy Learning out in California, who bought a bulk order and is selling them at a discounted rate.
Dr. Franklin, but before we let you go, another couple minutes left before we'll have to say goodbye today. At this time, after all this knowledge you've collected, after all the studying you've done of successful people in a variety of different fields, at this time, what is your #1 piece of advice for anybody at any level of life that's looking to achieve a goal or to achieve a certain level of success, whatever that is defined for them, your #1 tip among all things you've learned that they need to be following in their life, that they need to change in their life today to achieve that success?
I think the key thing is a take-home message that I saw, Tyler, on a car bumper sticker that said, "You are your own fortune cookie." To a large extent, you make your destiny. Don't blame the professor, don't blame the administrator, don't blame the manager or the director. You got to find the right path. And if you're persistent, if you're positive in your interactions with other people, if you read and follow what we have in this book, I think you'll be eminently successful.
Dr. Franklin, thank you so much for joining us on the program again. You can find his book anywhere that you find books online and in bookstores, if you still are able to find a local bookstore in some places. The book, again, GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more great interviews and insight from across the great state of Michigan. We'll begin the Michigan Megacast on your radio homes for the program. 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills coming up after this quick break. This is the Michigan Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
211, how can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the program is Jeremy Johnson, a student at Oakland University, who is also serving the Great Lakes State on the Michigan Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force. He's one of 2 students from Oakland University who are selected among the 25 students across the state serving on this advisory task force. Jeremy, thank you for being on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
I appreciate everyone. So first off, tell us what you're studying at Oakland University and why did you ultimately choose to go to Oakland?
Yeah, I am studying political science. I'm in my 3rd year. I also have a minor in philosophy. Chose to go to OU because it was an affordable option for me. When I toured campus, I liked the environment. And ultimately, with my political engagement work, I was always very interested in politics. As soon as I got to campus, I've been doing this work for some time now. And that encouraged me to apply for the Collegiate Task Force.
So you said you've been interested in civic engagement and in politics for a while. Obviously, that interest is something that you'd like to turn into a career as you're studying political science at Oakland University. So when did you first become civically involved, or did you realize that civic engagement and political activity in your community and in surrounding communities was something that you were passionate about?
I mean, I've thought for a while that political engagement is pretty vital. Obviously, I wasn't able to vote or really do much political activity before I was 18, but as soon as I got to campus, I knew that I wanted to do something in politics. I knew that I wanted to help out in some way when it comes to getting the student body more involved. I quickly began helping with voter registration drives, encouraging people to vote, helping with events that would increase voter participation on campus. And ultimately, I think it is just very important that students get out to vote because students historically, the youth historically, have been very underrepresented at the polls. Trends have been better. In 2020, more young people turned out to vote than in a very long time, but I still think that there's a lot more work that we can do. And through all the work that I've done at OU, I hope that I have contributed in some positive way to improving that trend.
We're joined by Jeremy Johnson, Oakland University student and one of 25 members of the Michigan Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. We'll get to the task force in a minute, but on campus at Oakland University, what are some of the ways that you have worked to increase that civic engagement of the student body, not just yourself and those around you, but really the activity across campus, especially in the last couple of years and as we're going forward, where we are a very politically active society and we hear more about the actions of our political leaders and the actions of those civically involved more than ever?
Yeah, certainly. So a lot of my work took place leading up to the 2020 elections that happened during my 2nd year at OU. A lot of the work that I've done has been in collaboration with our student government, Oakland University Student Congress, as well as the Center for Civic Engagement with Professor David Dulio. A lot of what we did was hosting voter registration drives, putting up a lot of posters and signage, letting people know about their online options when it comes to registering to vote or getting an absentee ballot. We hosted a free stamp program so that we could eliminate that monetary barrier when it comes to setting in absentee ballots. We hosted a whole lot of events, debate watch parties, that sort of thing. And we've been working very extensively on long-term programs that would increase student voter participation in the long run, things like encouraging classes to be canceled on election days, things like encouraging various departments that interact with first-year students to host voter registration drives of their own, and all kinds of other things. And I hope that we can resume a lot of these programs and a lot of these efforts for the 2022 elections. And I'm hopeful that these midterms would be successful, just as 2020 was for OU.
So as you're doing these get out the vote drives, and you're trying to get more people on campus, younger people to get involved, especially in those non-presidential elections, those midterms, those primaries especially, where turnout overall is significantly lower, but especially among the younger populations. Was that a tough experience to try to convince students to be more politically involved in times where it's less publicized? Such as midterm elections, certainly the primaries. What was your experience like as you are going through that endeavor and trying to garner more activity politically on campus, regardless of party affiliation?
Yeah, I think 2020 was a very different political environment. The election was obviously very contentious. We had a presidential election that year. We had senators going up in the state of Michigan. So I think people were already pretty mobilized to go and vote. So I can't necessarily claim all of the success that OU had on behalf of my efforts, but I do know that students were very interested in voting. And I think that student voter mobilization is difficult for different reasons than people may conventionally think. I think that once you remove the barriers that students may have in front of them when it comes to voting, whether it be monetary or timely or whatever else the barrier may be, I think students generally do want to go and vote. It's just they're unaware of their options. They may have classes that day. They may not have the money to drive out to the polling stations or send their absentee ballot in. They may have forgot about the elections. They weren't being reminded. And I think once you remove those barriers and you do all of that work that entails, I think students generally will go and vote. And I think that's what we saw, at least for OU. We had a 73.4%, I think, voter turnout rate in 2020. Obviously, in 2022, it'll probably be lower just because that's how things trend. There's not much we can do to control for that. But I think that if we work to remove the barriers on a systemic level, kind of a university-wide level, I think that overall voter participation will go up. I mean, ultimately, even if we have a 100% voter registration rate, if students actually can't go and vote, if they don't have the capacity to go and do it, they won't be able to. So I'm of the opinion that we can encourage all we want, but ultimately removing the barriers is the number one thing.
So tell us about your experience on the Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force. How does that then help to inform the actions that you're taking at Oakland University to help get your community more civically involved?
Yeah, you know, sometimes doing this work, I feel very alone. There's very few people on campus that are willing to collaborate, that are even interested in voter participation, voter engagement work, especially in a midterm election year, especially during 2020 when there were no statewide elections in Michigan. But being on the Collegiate Task Force is very interesting because it's a lot of people that think the exact same way that I do. And we've only had one meeting so far. We had it last week. We have another meeting coming up next week. But the first meeting was really all about getting to know each other, getting to know each other's goals, and setting some goals for ourselves of what we really want to accomplish, what issues we really want to address. It was about a 2-hour meeting where we were just talking about those issues, talking about what we think is important. And I'm very hopeful, more hopeful than I've been in a while about this kind of stuff, because it can be really tough working on your own as a student in this space on an issue that you feel like maybe many people don't care about. But when you get into a room that is full of 25 to 35 people that all really want to work towards the same end that you do, it's inspiring, and I'm really grateful to be given this opportunity.
We're joined by Jeremy Johnson, Oakland University student and one of 25 members of the Michigan Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. He's also on that task force with fellow Oakland University classmate Anna Van Hese. So how did the two of you become involved with the task force? Were you recruited by the Department of State? Was this something you applied for? What was that process like?
I'm not sure what it was like for Anna, but for me, I had just seen that applications were open. I had seen that the Secretary of State's department was looking for students from college campuses that were interested in this work that really wanted to help, and I thought it was just right up my alley. I thought it was perfect for me. So I applied, I went through the interview process, waited to hear back from them, and eventually I was notified that I got it.
And so you mentioned that this work has just begun. What are some of the future plans of the task force or tasks of the task force going forward? Obviously, civic engagement plays a key role in that, encouraging students to be politically involved, to go out and vote and learn the options that they have for voting in their all across the state of Michigan. But what other tasks or what other projects are underway or being discussed with the task force at this time?
Yeah, so I think the main direction of the task force is still really up to us. I think it's up to us to decide what we're going to do. There's a few requirements of us. We have to put on a couple of voter engagement events. There's some things that we have to do on our own campus, like they're requiring us to put up signage and make sure we're doing our own things as well as working with the task force and collaborating with each other. But outside of that, I think the direction is really, they're leaving it up to the students, which I think is really great. If I could have it my way, 100%, not saying that I'm going to try to control everything here, but what I would like to see out of the task force is a large focus on convincing administrations to take, again, university-wide action to remove the barriers that students may have to voting. Again, it's really hard to do this work on your own. Even if you have, say, a group of 10 people working on voter engagement on your campus, it's still really hard to do it, especially with campuses that are very large. And no matter how much we encourage students to register to vote, to get out to vote, it's really all about the barriers that are preventing them from voting. And I think administrators specifically have a very unique role when it comes to that. And they have the ability, unlike anyone else on campus, to get rid of those barriers and encourage students to vote on a university-wide level. And I hope that's what the task force aims to do, because I think that's what we have the power to do. That's what we have the reach to do. And that's what I think would be the most responsible use of our time together.
Jeremy, through your efforts, the efforts of yourself and Anna and other students at Oakland University, the university has been designated a voter-friendly campus. Can you talk about, A, what that means to be a voter-friendly campus, and what goes into meeting the requirements to have that declaration, to have that designation at Oakland University?
I can't remember the specific statistics that we had to reach. There were certain numbers we had to reach in voter registration rates, voter turnout rates, that sort of thing. I can't remember the exact numbers they wanted us to reach, but I believe that as a part of the All-In Challenge, they give you those designations. I think we received the voter-friendly campus designation last year. I received that in part with the work that I've done with Professor David Dulio and the Center for Civic Engagement. All that's really about is a kind of a third-party authentication that your campus is doing what they should be doing to encourage student voter participation. It doesn't, I don't think it includes or it necessarily differentiates between who is doing that work, whether it be administrators encouraging it or students encouraging it or different departments. But it is just a way for us to say we are doing the work, we're putting in the time, and we're making sure students get out to vote. And we're very happy to receive that designation. I remember we received a lot of accolades and a lot of praise for that. So very happy to be a part of that.
We're joined by Jeremy Johnson, Oakland University political science student and member of the Michigan Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Jeremy, if others on campus would like to join you and join Anna in your efforts to increase civic engagement on campus and political involvement and help other students learn about the political process and their ability to vote on campus at Oakland University and in their hometowns, but of course they at this time can't join the task force. But what are some ways that they can help you and Anna in your efforts at Oakland University and get involved themselves in this effort?
Biggest thing I would say is if you're already a part of student organizations, make sure you're getting all your friends registered to vote. Make sure you're getting all your members registered to vote. The work that I've done, as I mentioned, has been mostly through our student Congress and our student government and all the relationships we have through that organization. But sometimes just because our reach isn't infinite, we miss some groups. And those groups tend to have student organizations that they belong to. And if you feel like your group is underrepresented, you feel like your student voices are not being heard, then I would encourage you to organize yourselves and register everyone to vote and encourage everyone to vote. But outside of that, if you're on Oakland University's campus, I would encourage you to reach out to Student Congress and get involved as much as you can. You can just do this voter engagement work if that's what you're interested in. And ultimately, I think that, like I said, if you're a part of an organization, you can organize and do that work yourself. It's pretty easy to set up a voter registration drive. If you want to work with others, you can reach out to Student Congress and, yeah.
Jeremy, on that note, any events coming up or on campus at Oakland University for voter engagement, for voter registration or anything else on this topic?
At this time, I'm not sure. The semester just got out, so I don't know really what events are coming up. But we'll have plenty planned for the fall. I believe National Voter Registration Day is on September 22nd or 23rd, somewhere in there. So I'm sure we'll have something planned for that. And I'm hoping lots of exciting get out the vote measures, get out the vote events, that kind of thing, once we get closer to midterms.
Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, we'll speak with artist David Zinn from Zinn Art. That's up next on the Michigan Megacast.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is an expert designer of movie posters, business logos, cartoons, and more. David Zinn joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. David, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, I'd like to ask this of any artist that joins us. What inspired you to pursue art as a professional career?
Well, my mother hates when I say this, but it's really because I successfully failed at any other kind of career. I was a compulsive doodler as a child, had no idea that was even a job option, and actually studied other things in college. But when I got out of college, the main thing people wanted from me was, hey, could you draw this for me? Because they knew I was the guy who draws stuff.
And so your art has a range of different commissions. You've been commissioned on theatrical posters, educational cartoons, landfill murals, environmental superheroes, corporate allegories, hand-painted dump trucks. It goes all along a wide range. Where did that range come from? Because drawing is its own medium, but then when you go to these different outlets for those drawings, I would imagine it takes on a whole different meaning, and it's a whole different process for one versus the other.
Well, I mostly just made myself available in a relatively small town of Ann Arbor to do whatever people needed done. But actually, all of that has now been blown out of the water by the one type of art I started doing exclusively for myself, for non-commercial purposes, which is drawing on the street with chalk, which is what I'm going to be doing at the Ann Arbor Art Fair in July. That it's actually serves very little purpose, which is what I like about it. It's an ephemeral art that exists only out on the street until it rains.
So your street art drawings, you mentioned that you're going to be doing some street art drawings in chalk during the Ann Arbor Art Fair. They're considered to be anamorphic parietal. Can you tell our viewers what those terms mean?
Of course. They are weird words to use. I think I like using them in part because they sound like fake words, but they are real. Anamorphosis is a trick that artists have been using for hundreds of years. It's the technique of stretching or distorting a flat image so that when you look at it from one perfect point of view, it looks three-dimensional. It's a very common trick for street artists to use. I think because when you draw something on the ground at people's feet, they can't actually look at it from straight above because they'd have to be 20 feet tall to do that. And so since people can only look at it from a weird angle, you might as well make one of those weird angles the ideal place to stand, and then people know, oh, this is where I should see this from. The pareidolia is something that I think I've made my own particular, street art indulgence. It's something we all do. It's an inherent psychological tendency we all have to see patterns in random stuff. It's why we see clouds and say, hey, that looks like a cow or that looks like a bunny. It's why you see faces in wallpaper or get frightened by that pile of clothes on a chair at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's because your brain is always looking for possible meaning in everything it sees. And one of the things I like most about drawing out on the sidewalk is that it's covered with all kinds of shapes and random pieces and bits, specks and streaks and cracks. And it takes very little application of this pareidolia to see things that might want to be drawn in any surface you look at. And that's what I do.
So what are some of the more unique street art designs that you've made in your time practicing this pareidolia? Because there's, like you said, there's so many different phenomenons and patterns that can be experienced by people in everyday things, and especially when you think about Michigan surfaces and the ways that they crack and the ways that they bend. I'd imagine there's quite a lot of variety, even in a place, like you said, in a small town of Ann Arbor.
Oh, yeah. There is an incredible amount of variety. In fact, especially starting at the beginning of the pandemic, when I did all of my work for 2 years within walking distance of my own house, not only did I not run out of new places to draw, I didn't run out of things I wanted to draw on the same place. There are now places in downtown Ann Arbor, specific 1 square of sidewalk, that I've drawn 5 or 6 different things on the same place. So you're right, especially with Michigan conveniently breaking up the sidewalk here and there, there's always going to be something new to inspire a new piece of art.
Do you see something on the street, like a manhole cover or some sort of signage that's got a certain shadow at a certain time of the day, or something along those lines that then sparks an idea? Or is it more of a trial and error where I'm going to try this at this location, see if it works, and if it doesn't, I'll go back to the drawing board, no pun intended, and think of something else?
It's a very good question and a very good reference to the drawing board, because the beauty of it is that there is no drawing board, which means you don't really have that opportunity. You only really have until the sun goes down or a rainstorm comes to complete any given drawing. So even if there's very rarely a plan, and I think this is the key, is to very rarely have a plan, something will emerge. I mean, you could walk away at any time, but even though I could walk away at any time, and even if the drawing isn't going the way I expected, usually something comes of it, because why not make something while you're there?
We're joined by David Zinn, professional artist with Zinn Art, joining us on the Michigan Megacast, and you'll be able to see some of his art on the streets of Ann Arbor during the Ann Arbor Art Fair, where he'll be doing many of these drawings that we have been speaking about, these street drawings in chalk throughout Ann Arbor during that time in this July, that the Ann Arbor Art Fair, July 21st through 23rd in downtown Ann Arbor. 30 blocks of the city will be featuring this art fair. And so, David, you have a couple of characters you go back to, Sluggo and Philomena, who appear in a lot of your street art also. Can you tell us about these characters, who they are, and where the ideas for these characters came from?
Sluggo has probably been around the longest. He was one of the first things I drew actually on a driveway right next to my house. And he was actually my first failed drawing, because he was supposed to be a drawing of a human child that went really, really badly, to the point where he ended up green with eyes on stalks above his head. And because his eyes are this weird bug eye kind of, independent existence floating above his head, he's very excited about everything. I think he's been a good companion for that reason, because any way you draw him, he has strong emotions about whatever's happening. So he's the exuberant side of things. Philomena, by comparison, was drawn originally at the request of a small child in my neighborhood. And it didn't even occur to me at the time that drawing a pig with wings has a lot of symbolic power, and symbolic positive power and encouraging power, only because the phrase "that'll happen when pigs fly" is such an inherently mean-spirited thing to say, because that is used solely to discourage people. That means that for some people, and I've heard people comment this as they're walking by on the street, seeing a flying pig just has an inherently encouraging feel to it. Like, no, whatever you want to have happen, yeah, it could probably happen, because look, pigs can fly. She, in contrast, has very small eyes and a face which I've tried to make look scared or frightened or even exuberantly happy, and I can't do it. Something about that character is always very much calm and accepting and just okay with whatever's happening. And I find that the two together make a nice balance of influences in my life.
We're joined by David Zinn, professional artist, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. You'll find him in Ann Arbor with his street drawings all throughout Ann Arbor during the Ann Arbor Art Fair this July. More information can be found by searching Ann Arbor Art Fair. That happens July 21st through 23rd in Ann Arbor. You can learn more about David's art by visiting zinnart.com, ZINNART.com, zinnart.com for more information and to see some of his pieces of street art and more on his website, zinnart.com. michiganmegacast.com, again, is the website. And you also have a collection of artworks in a book called Chance Encounters. Can you tell us about Chance Encounters?
I do.
What people can find in that?
Yeah, Chance Encounters just came out this spring. It's being published by Prestel in Germany, so it's actually got a pretty good reach, unlike some of my first books, which were published very locally and have so few copies that people are scrambling to find any that are left. This is basically what makes the ephemerality okay, because I can't save any of these original drawings. They're stuck to the ground. I can't take them home, which is actually one of the best things about it, because I never have to worry if I have room in my house to store more art, which is a problem a lot of artists have. But to make it okay, I take photographs, and I can publish the photographs, and people can enjoy those anytime and anywhere, and also preserve the stories that emerge around them, because each one of these feels like it's an illustration from a story that hasn't been written. And so each one comes with a one-sentence reference, just an allusion to what might be happening. Usually they have a name, and something is happening to them, but it's up to the reader to supply everything else.
We're joined by David Zinn, professional artist, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Again, his website, zinnart.com, zinnart.com, where you can also learn more about where you can get a copy of Chance Encounters and see some of his previous art. You'll be able to see his latest editions of street art at the Ann Arbor Art Fair coming up this July. And so where in the city are you going to be planning it, or do you plan at this time, if you have those plans, to make some of these street art pieces? Is it going to be in a relatively close area, or is it going to be all throughout the art fair?
Well, it is true that any nice day in Ann Arbor, I am likely to be somewhere drawing something, generally in the Main Street, Liberty Street area, because that's where I usually run errands and things. And that's my favorite way to make art, is when I'm just walking through town. However, for the art fair, they give me the opportunity to draw in front of the post office down on Liberty, a very downtown location, very central to my thinking of what is downtown Ann Arbor, because it's right near the intersection of Fifth Avenue and Liberty. And it's a space where I normally can't draw because it's federal property. It's one of the only places that a security guard has ever given me a stern look and told me to keep walking. So I relish art fair just for the indulgence of being able to draw in a forbidden place. So I'll be there definitely on Thursday and Saturday, and possibly on Friday as well, because we like to be prepared for possible erasure of the ground by rain in the meantime. Hopefully nothing that's going to get in anybody's way. So I'll be right down there, also right near one of my only permanent pieces in town, which is a mural on Fifth Avenue right next to the post office that people are welcome to come see. It's actually a very good photo op for anyone who wants to participate in a piece of art. So I hope people consider that as well.
David, if people can't come to the art fair, they can't see your art on the streets either during the art fair proper or afterwards because Mother Nature decides that the show is over, how can they find you on social media?
I'm on pretty much everything, I believe. I have a professional Facebook page called David Zinn Illustration that barely distinguishes it from my actual Facebook page, but add the illustration on there and you'll be fine. I'm on Twitter at DavidZinn_art, and on Instagram, I think is just my name, David Zinn. And recently on TikTok, I've started posting actual videos of works in progress that have been very popular, and that is an account called Street Art by David Zinn.
And all this information can be found on zinnart.com, zinnart.com, for more information about his pieces, to get a copy of Chance Encounters, and just in case you were unable to memorize all of that social media, you can have links to all that as well. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was nice talking to you.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a break on the Michigan Megacast. When we come back, we hit the trails and set sail for summer in Traverse City. That's coming up next on the Michigan Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV, which can also be found at mymytv.com. One of the most beloved Michigan summer travel destinations is Traverse City, where many find it's best to explore all it has to offer on bicycle and on the water. Tawny Lynn Hammond's business allows you to do a little bit of both. She is the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City and joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. Tawny Lynn, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's really good to be here with you.
Yeah, good to have you with us, and good to see you out there on the water, Captain.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. We had a great weekend. We're doing training with the crew, working on rigging. We kick off our season on the 26th of May.
Yeah, it's right around that time of the year. It's been beautiful lately. It's going to be a little bit more seasonal weather coming up before we really get into the hotter portions of the year, which is a great time to be out on the water in Traverse City. So you not only offer tours on the water, on boats, but also by bicycle. So tell us a little bit more about Wind Dancer Tours and the services that you provide to people that are looking to explore Traverse City and have a little bit of fun outdoors while doing it.
Oh, thanks. My favorite subject matter. First of all, we do offer land and water tours. Wind Dancer is a 60-foot long schooner, and she was launched in 1988. She's a custom-made Thomas Colvin Gazelle, and she's a schooner. And the Great Lakes have a rich schooner history going way back through before the lumber boom up here in northern Michigan, the War of 1812. The ships, the naval ships that fought the War of 1812 were schooners. And so schooners have a rich, long history on the Great Lakes, moving people, moving animals, moving goods. It was how things got from point A to point B prior to the railroad. And what we do is we bring people out. It's an elevated, unique experience on the water, a 3-hour tour. We're based out of the Delamar Resort Hotel, where the Holiday Inn used to be, at the bottom of the west arm of the Grand Traverse Bay. It's the Delamar. It's a beautiful hotel, and that's where our dock is. And we take people out for 3 hours. We head to Power Island. We sailed in that direction. It used to be called Ford Island. Henry Ford actually purchased the island and used it for retreats. There was kind of a hotel out there. He had a full orchestra out there. It's a really neat history. We also, Tyler, one of the things that's real important to us when folks are with us on the water or land, we tell the story of the first people, the indigenous people that lived here, the Chippewa, the Ojibwe, and we tell their stories. And they were here first. They hunted, they fished, they lived on these waters. And it's real important for us to acknowledge their part of the history of the land and the water. So we also, in addition to the sailing excursions, we do land tours, the Awe of Leelanau, where we do e-assist bikes. It's guided. We take people out on the Leelanau Peninsula. It's the old railroad bed, and it's now known as the Tart Trail System. And it's the Leelanau Trail, a part of the Tart Trail System. And we end in Sutton's Bay with a picnic, at a picnic, gourmet picnic. The guide brings all the food, snacks, water, and then our, it's interpretive. So the guide will stop, talk about points of interest, talk about history, about 4 or 5 stops where you can get water, have a snack, talk to our historian, our guide, and then you end it with a picnic in Sutton's. You get the bike for the whole day, and you can either shop in Sutton or come back to Traverse City, and you have it really to the end of the day, 5, 6 o'clock. But one thing I just wanted to mention, and I know I'm talking a lot, I apologize. You're going to have to like cut my mic and make me stop talking. But one last thing I wanted to offer is when you're on our boat, what makes us unique, because there's a lot of great boats on the Great Lakes, particularly Grand Traverse Bay and the West Arm. What makes us unique and different is when you're on Wind Dancer, everything is from Northern Michigan. We offer our guests, we don't have customers, we have friends. We offer everything locally made. It's a gourmet meal made right at the Artisan, right at Delamar, made by a chef in a commercial kitchen. And so there's a meal, there's locally sourced snacks, there's handmade, homemade jerky from Deering's Market. They've been around since the 30s. Great Lakes chips made right here in Traverse City. And all the drinks you're going to taste, Bonobo wine, Mammoth spirits, Rare Bird beers, and soda pop from Northwood, ciders, everything's local. So it's an authentic up north Michigan experience.
Yeah, you get to experience the sights, the sounds, and tastes of Traverse City in a really dynamic set of tours. And so are these tours through your company, are they private, are they public, are they combinations of both?
That's a great question. They are open to the public, and you can also privately charter the boat. Our webpage is www.winddancertc.com, and you'll see that we have signature sales, 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock each day. 3 days a week, we feature our partners, Bonobo, Mammoth, and Rare Bird, and that's their products exclusive to that sale at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Those are called specialty sales. And then you can also privately charter Wind Dancer, and we carry 18 people. There's 3 crew, a captain, a first mate, and a second mate. And you can privately charter the boat, and we have people that are getting married, people that are getting engaged, people celebrating anniversaries and birthdays and retirements. We've had proposals on the boat, engagements on the boat, where the captain does a special champagne toast. So that information for a private charter is on our webpage.
We're joined by Tawny Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. More information on their website, winddancertc.com, winddancertc.com, to learn more about their sailing tours, their e-bike tours, e-bike rentals, pontoon charters, private charters, and more, and to sign up and find out their regular hours so that you can visit Traverse City and experience the entirety of Traverse City with our friends over there at Wind Dancer Tours, winddancertc.com for more information. And so, Tawny Lynn, as you go into this season, as you're in the thick now of the spring and heading toward the summer season in Michigan, these are peak travel seasons for those that are traveling throughout Michigan, from within Michigan, for those that are coming into Michigan from places like Canada and other places in the U.S. to explore the great sights and sounds and destinations of Michigan, coming out of the last few years, which have, I would imagine, for a company that's business can be so based in the tourism traffic over these seasons, may not have been as fruitful as one would have hoped because of the pandemic. For those that are traveling and are going to places like Traverse City, how important is it for them to venture over to companies like yours and others that are small businesses that are providing these experiences in places like Traverse City this summer, knowing where we're at with COVID-19 and where these businesses are at too, and their need for this summer to be very successful for their future?
Well, it's really important. I think people are looking, when people come up to Traverse City, we want to offer them a transformational experience. When you get out on the water or you get out on your bike and you're experiencing the outdoors, you really just unplug from the stressors in life. But it's been past 2 years have been stressful for everybody. And what we offer people are an opportunity to unplug, de-stress. When you can feel it when people are on our bike tours or people are on the boat. You get out, you get those sails up, or you get out on the trail, and you just feel the buzz of life stop and just quiet. It's a quiet, serene feeling, and you just feel that you're untethered. And it has been a couple of rough years for everybody. People lost people they loved. Lives were transformed, many in a good way, and for some, it was a real mixed bag. There might have been some sadness there. And so there's been a collective stress for everybody in the world. And people coming up here, what we want to do for them is offer them an experience that they're never going to forget. They're going to remember this the rest of their life. When they're sitting at their cubicle at work, or at their desk at work, or in their garage at work, or in their restaurant, whatever their trade, whatever their profession, occupation is, we want them to touch back in their memory and remember their time on the water with us as part of the Wind Dancer family. We want that to sustain them through tough and dark times, rough times. Life can be very beautiful, but can also offer us challenges. And what we offer people is that opportunity to create a beautiful memory. Our guides, our mates, our land guides, our captains, they know that we live in paradise. And you live up here. I had a friend visiting one time, and we're driving over by the bay, and she said, I don't know what it would be like to live in beauty like this. And we do. Yeah. And so that's what we want to turn people onto and make them fans of. And, you know, our reviews are great. They're like 5-star reviews, over 100 5-star reviews. It's only our first season. We're in our second season now. We want to deliver on the Wind Dancer promise. I'm glad you mentioned the pontoon boat. It is a 6-passenger pontoon boat that leaves out of the Delamar. And we have a captain who is in charge of the boat. So 6 of you, your friends, family can get on there. You can have some adult beverages. You don't have to worry about safety. You don't have to worry about rules of the water, which side of the bay you should be on, how fast you should be going. You can relax, not think about that. We take you out of Power Island. You can swim. You can look for Petoskey stones on the beach. You can sunbathe, and our captain will take care of your every need. I also have the River Outfitters, which is over in Medalley Park. It's our sister company where we offer stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, and bikes. If you want to get close up to the water and more exercise and paddling on the bay or paddling on the Boardman River, we offer that too. So really, this is, Tyler, it's a lifestyle. We are not only creating beautiful experiences for those that rent a kayak, get out on Wind Dancer. We also have a history tour of Traverse City. So not only are we offering that, but we also want the people that work for the company to be experiencing that beauty, and every day look forward to coming to work.
And so great too, because these opportunities that you're providing to your customers give them a little bit of a glance of everything that makes Michigan so unique. And that's really, and Traverse City is such a great representation, especially Traverse City in the summer, of Michigan at its peak. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got enough of the city for people that are interested in the city lifestyle. It's got enough of the country and sightseeing for those that want to see some natural beauty. Of course, it's got the Great Lakes and the water experiences too. And so there's so much to experience in Traverse City, and an opportunity like this gives people that opportunity to explore it in a number of different ways and kind of get a full scope of Traverse City in that short time that they are visiting Traverse City.
Absolutely. It's a really unique place to live, and it's an even more unique place to visit. I always tell our crew, our team, this is somebody's Disney. This is somebody's Grand Canyon. This is people saved up their hard-earned money, and they chose to come up here, and we want to show them the time of their lives. We want them to be able to envision the past when the first peoples were here. We want them to envision this little tiny frontier, this Midwest Great Lakes frontier town, which didn't even have a post office when it first started, and we tell the story of how we grew and what we've become today, and just create those beautiful memories. Well, one of our taglines is "Let's get outdoors and make some memories."
More information on their website, winddancertc.com. That's winddancertc.com. To learn more information, you can also find them on various social media, on Instagram at the Wind Dancer TC, and Facebook at Wind Dancer Traverse City Charters as well. All that information also linked on their website, winddancertc.com. We're joined by Tawny Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. Tawny Lynn, for those that may be interested after hearing this, after going to your website, what are some of the price points on these tours for those that may be interested and maybe wanting to explore but also fit within their price ranges?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We have a variety of opportunities for people to experience northern Michigan and Traverse City and the Leelanau Peninsula. For starters, with our e-bikes, for $75, you get an e-bike for the whole day, and you get the free tour of the history of Traverse City. And we've laid that all out for you. You'll be able to listen to it like in earpods or on your phone. And that's $75 for the day. A half day is $45. The tour, the guided tour, which comes with a meal, along with the interpretive tour of the culture and the history of the Leelanau Peninsula and Traverse City, that's $159 a person. And you get the bike for the whole day. So it's half-day tour, but if you wanted to, you'd have your bike the whole day. Wind Dancer is $199 a person. That's a 3-hour sale, and that comes with the guide, right? So you're learning all about the history of the area, the gourmet meal from Artisan Restaurant at Delamar, and then it's an open bar. We're not an alcohol-forward business. We are primarily about tasting and experiencing all of these wonderful spirits from Mammoth and Bonobo and Rare Bird. And so we serve you, actually. So if you would like to, have another glass of wine, we bring you your glass of wine. It's total pampering when you're on board the Wind Dancer schooner, and the same with the land tour. So that's $199 a person. For a private charter, it's $3,500, and that includes the food and gratuity. And if you wanted to bring your own food and your own beverages, it's $2,500, and that includes gratuity as well. On the one for $199 a person, we can carry 18 people, and we always encourage, our crew work really hard. They're professional mariners, and gratuities are always appreciated for that one. Kayaks, $50 for a half day, $75 for a full day. And to rent a bike, I think, is $20 an hour, $30 a half day, and I believe it's $60 for a full. So there's lots of different price point options. The pontoon boat is really affordable, $300 for 6 people for 2 hours. And we are doing something special when the Blue Angels are here. And for the 4th of July, you definitely want to book that pontoon boat and get out on the bay. And for 4th of July, a spectacular show on your own private pontoon boat. So I'm really shocked it's not booked yet. And we also are doing something special on Wind Dancer for 4th of July, 7:30 to 10:30. That'll be a 4-hour cruise, and they can find that information right on the webpage.
Webpage is winddancertc.com. That's winddancertc.com. We're joined by Tawny Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. Tawny Lynn, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about your business that we haven't discussed today?
We've covered it. We think we've covered it. I just want folks to know that when they're with us, they are our friends. They're part of the Wind Dancer family, part of the River Outfitters family. People come back time and time again because we treat folks special the way we would want to be treated. And we just look forward to making beautiful memories. You mentioned COVID. We sanitize all our equipment. You're socially distanced naturally because you're outside. You're not in an enclosed space. That's really the perfect thing to do as a family or with friends, being outside, being in a safe environment. You're not cooped up like in a theater or something of that nature. And I love the theater. Trust me, the State Theater is beautiful here in downtown Traverse City. I'm just saying that if you do have concerns, it really is the perfect destination where you can be with family and friends, make great memories, and not be concerned about that, because we take your safety seriously. And we just look forward to seeing you out on the water or out on the trail. Come see us. We'll take care of you. And we just look forward to seeing everybody out here in Traverse City.
Tanya Lynn, thank you so much for joining us, telling us more about Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City with services all throughout the summer on bike and on the water there in Traverse City. Explore the city and all it has to offer on land and at sea. That is going to do it for this Monday edition of the Michigan and Oakland County Megacast. We thank you for tuning in and encourage you to learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, or go to civiccentertv.com. Click on Megacast on the homepage, and there you'll be able to find all of our full episodes on demand, as well as each individual interview, so you can watch the Megacast either as a full 2-hour marathon, like so many do each and every day live, or view each individual segment on demand, depending on what your interest is. If you're interested in Traverse City, learn more about some touring opportunities. If you're an art lover, David Zinn's interview will be up there mid to late afternoon today as well, or you can view our full episodes on demand, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find more information on our entire family of stations that join us for this program every single day, including community television and radio stations all throughout the Oakland County area and across the state, and online outlets such as My Michigan TV, which you can find on mymytv.com, as well as on their free apps for your smartphones and smart TVs. Learn more again at their website, mymytv.com, or by going to civiccentertv.com, clicking on our Megacast link, and there you'll be able to click on links that will take you to every single one of our partnering stations, so you can learn more about their original programming and the other 22 hours of the day that they're not joining us on the Megacast for Oakland County and Michigan programs, and of course support them in any way that you can along the way as well. Then on our page at civiccentertv.com/local-news, or our local news page at the top of civiccentertv.com, we of course continue to provide you direct links to the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 specific web pages to keep you up to date on everything you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautions you may or may not need to be taking in your hometown, in your place of work, as you're traveling this Memorial Day weekend coming up in just a few days. All that information can be readily found by going to our website at civiccentertv.com, clicking on our local news link, and then following those links to the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, and keep up to date on COVID-19 without searching all around the internet for information that sometimes can be garbage. Also, big thank you to our crew for making this program possible every single day. Our technical director, Calvin Brown, with me for the full 2-hour marathon. Our Zoom producer on today's program, Ken Cooper, at the office of My Michigan TV. And of course, the king of television, Larry Nyland, our producer, booking each and every one of these guests and getting them and us ready for informative conversations on a number of different topics 5 days a week. On My Michigan TV, coming up next, it's Steve Lato Live. Then Larry and Ronnie Live will return Tuesday with another edition of the Megacast.